Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Nila Madhav, Radha Nila Madhav, Shri Radhe, Jaya Radha Nila Madhav, Radha Nila Madhav, Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. 15% is weak today. Hare Krishna, everyone. Wish you all a very, very happy New Year. Thank you for joining us today. So this week onwards, before this, I want to inform you all, we have a very esteemed guest, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu. He's a monk from India, but very, well known as well as very realized soul. He is visiting us on the 25th and 26th of this month, and we are hosting a program. We'll share the details. Please, you all should come in person. The program will be in University campus, University of Washington campus. We'll share the details. You should come as well as bring your friends. It'll be a very unique music session as well as, kirtan. Kirtan class as well as Q&A. It'll be very transformative session for you all. So please join us on that session. So from now onwards, we want to focus on Bhagavad Gita core teachings. I mean, one way we can do is to study verses, verse by verse. Before that, our mentor, Radhesham Prabhu, who is coming, in a couple of weeks here, he recommends certain practical teachings. So we want to focus on those teachings first, so that we all practically understand some of the benefits of Bhagavad Gita in our life before we embark onto studying verses. When you study verses with this background, it will become a lot more easier because you already have full, foundation. And these sessions will be very interactive. So we already learned in Discover Yourself course some of the fundamentals about our existence, the teachings of Gita. We'll delve a little more, and we will focus on the first topic. We all hear about reincarnation, right? All, living entities within the material existence, the soul is changing the bodies again and again, and because the soul is eternal, the body is temporary. The body keeps changing for the soul, eternal soul, while its existence is continuing within the material existence. So we want to understand how this particular topic, the soul's reincarnation, is relevant in a practical way in our own personal life. That is the topic of today. Bhagavad Gita was spoken more than 5,000 years ago by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. However, it is very much relevant in the past, it is relevant today, and it will be relevant for all time to come in the future as well. And we'll see how it is. So one of the fundamental concepts in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the introduction of the concept of soul. So we truly are the soul. We are not this physical body. The physical body is like a shirt or a covering on the soul, which is 100% spiritual in nature. In fact, we have multi-level existence, 3-level existence. The core is the soul, the true self, and the soul is covered by a subtle body, which is made of, anyone can tell me what is the subtle body constituents? Not here. I want online audience. Anyone? Mudra, you want to say? Kushwant.
I hope, Prabhuji, subtle body is, we talked about subtle and gross body, right?
Correct, yeah. Gross body is
Just
made of Panchamahabhuta. Panchamahabhuta is earth, water,
yes,
air,
yeah,
ether, right? And yeah.
yeah. Subtle is like the abstract one, or not something that is tangible, and so that is mind, intelligence, and I think false ego is what.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and ego. Now let's delve a little deeper into that. And both subtle body and the gross body, both are actually physical in nature. They are not spiritual in nature. Both are, you know, gross. I mean, gross body is gross and subtle body is subtle. And if I said like there are 5 Pancha Mahabhutas that make the body or anything in this existence: earth, and then water, fire, air, ether. Anything in this world you see, it's made of these 5 elements. And then the subtle body is subtler than ether. Ether is space. That itself is very subtle. But subtler than ether is the mind, intelligence, and ego. And what is mind? Anybody want to say what is mind?
Was it decision maker?
The decision maker is the intelligence. Intelligence helps us to make what is right, what is wrong. But what is mind?
Driver?
Kushwan, you want to say what is mind? Comprehend. Yeah. Mind is a storehouse of all the information. Like whatever we receive in this world, all that information is stored in the mind. Like for example, if I show you gulab jamun, you know it tastes sweet because you have a past memory of gulab jamun eating. So, and how does mind store the information? It captures information from the indriyas. There are 2 types of indriyas. One is called jnanendriya. The second is karmendriya. If you want to take quick notes, you can just note so that you remember. These are very fundamental concepts, and these will really give fundamental foundational understanding of Gita. So there are jnanendriyas through which we acquire knowledge in this world. What are the jnanendriyas? For example, we hear and acquire knowledge. We see and acquire knowledge. These are the primary knowledge acquirings. And then we smell and acquire knowledge. So all of them are in the face, right? Ears, nose, and then touch or skin, and what else? Eyes, tongue. So these jnanendriyas help us acquire knowledge in this world. And all of this knowledge goes to where? Ultimately, who is the coordinating sense for all of this? Mind. Mind gets all this knowledge from it, and it stores, it collects, it stores, and recollects. If I show you Karela, you feel a little, the taste. So when I show you gulab jamun, you feel, a different, your tongue starts salivating because you know the taste of it, because it has past memory, it has stored and it recollected. So mind is a coordinating sense that helps the living entity to collect, store, and recollect. 3 functions it does. And through which it functions in 3 dimensions: thinking, feeling, and willing. You see something, you like it. Why? Because mind likes it. You think, you feel, all your feelings are originating where? In the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing. You want to do something because you have a desire. Where is it originating? Mind. So mind is, when I say storehouse of impressions, it is storehouse of desires, because your impressions form the desires. So when it acquires knowledge in this world, it acquires good things as well as bad things. So sometimes we have in our mind certain unwanted things. Like what? Any examples of things which you don't want? You don't feel good when you are, occupied by that particular entity, another unwanted thing. Can anyone say what are the things that are in our mind that we don't want really to be happy in this world? Anardas. Envy, yeah, greed, anger. All of us have gone through anger, right? Nobody can say, I never got angry. Anger, envy, right? If somebody has something we want, we don't want him to have, we want to have that instead, right? Envy, false prestige, right? We are proud of what we have, or, we think we are, whatever we are, sometimes we feel very proud. I am an Indian, or I'm a engineer, or whatever, I'm a CEO. Identities, these are all identities in this world. Are they permanent? Can anyone say? Any of the identities that we have, none of them are permanent, right? That's why we get frustrated ultimately. So, yeah, so overall, this is the mind's function. And intelligence helps us to decide. So, mind has all these memories. Now, intelligence helps us to decide what to do. So the study of Gita helps us to sharpen our intelligence, because when you have this new knowledge from Gita about your existence, your multidimensional existence as physical body, gross body, and subtle body and the soul, when you have a clear understanding of this, you know what are the right priorities. Based on that, you can make right decisions. So your intelligence gets sharpened with the wisdom of Gita as you study. So we discussed about uh, the subtle body. We discussed about gross body. So why we should study Gita, and so our goal of life should be primarily to, because mind is the main entity that keeps us within this existence. The reason is, when we die, what is the meaning of death? Stopping of the function of body, physical body. When all the functions of your physical body stop, that is called death. But you have, as I said, 3 levels of existence. So you still have the soul. You are the soul. You are the soul, and you still have the subtle body. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, ego. Suppose you have in this world lived for, say, 80 years, and your gross body stops functioning. The subtle body, which is the the storehouse of all your desires that you have been acquiring from the past, have acquired in this life, so that subtle body will continue to exist to the next body you get, right? The soul continues with the subtle body to the next body, right? Based on one's desires at the time of death, one is awarded a next body. So that's the process of reincarnation. And the real goal of human life is to dissolve the subtle body. Dissolve the subtle body means basically all the material desires that you ever had in your mind should be nullified completely, or should be eradicated and replaced with pure spiritual desires. If you have spiritual desires are eternal. There is no problem. If you want to serve, in various ways, right? Lord, that's a spiritual desire. There is no problem. But if you have any material desires, hey, I want Tesla, or I want a bigger house, or I want, so and so things in my life. I want to become CEO or this. If you have that desire, and somehow or other you have passed away for, right? So that desire will continue to be part with you wherever you go to the next body. Suppose you get another human body in the next life, so your account will already have these subtle desires, right? So that's where our existence continues in the material existence. So the liberation, the word liberation means, now can anybody tell me what is liberation? Liberation means mukti, right? What would you think would be the meaning of liberation based on what we discussed so far? So I said mind is the storehouse of all kinds of desires, good and bad. And material existence means continuing within the material world in various material bodies. And that continues to happen as long as you have material desires, right? You can have spiritual desires, that's not a problem. Like if you want to chant holy name of Lord, that's not a problem. You can continue to have spiritual desires. But as long as you have material desires, you will continue to exist in the material world. So now, how can one be liberated? Detach from material desires. You completely get away from your material desires, right? Is that making sense to everyone? Yeah. So if suppose you completely eradicate your material desires, then you have no reason to come back to material existence. You have, liberated yourself. So what is the process for that, especially in the current times? Chanting the holy name is the best. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva 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 Gadaranita. So just like suppose, you're all working as engineers at your companies, right? Suppose you have written a program, as part of your project, and suppose it has some bugs. What would you do? You can fix the bugs so that the program runs properly, right? So our mind also has these bugs. What are those bugs? Lust, greed, anger, envy, false prestige. So these are the things that have to be fixed in our mind. Just like when you remove all the bugs, the program runs without any issues, right? See, similarly, when you eliminate all these unwanted things in your mind, then your life runs very smoothly in this world, as well as you get highest achievement after this life. So, and holy name, chanting of the holy name is the best method for cleansing our mind, right? Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam. So our mind is like a mirror. It's covered with dust. The dust of desires of material existence, in the material existence. And when you see in a mirror, can you see yourself if the mirror has a lot of sand particles on it? Nirupama, can you answer me? Like if you're looking at yourself in a mirror and there is a lot of dust on it, will you be able to see your true self? Oh, you're muted.
It's blurred. Yeah, it is blurred.
Yeah, it will be blurred. You can't see yourself. So in the material existence also, when our mind is full of unwanted things, the lust, greed, anger, envy, we can't truly see ourselves as that spirit soul. So that's why we need to cleanse our mind. And the whole purpose of life, as taught in Gita and all the Vedas, is to cleanse our mind. Somehow or other, we need to put in effort to actually clean our mind so that we can lead a happy life in this world. You can actually be truly happy when your mind is clean, actually. Yeah. So discuss this. Yeah. So there is only one goal of human form of life, which is to clean our mind. Yeah. Yeah. So, when we sit before computer, we have the opportunity also to play computer games, right? That's like, just like, coming to this middle world and then using all your time to enjoy in this world is like that. You basically lose your time. You can either fix your bugs and, fix your program, or use the same computer to play games and, dump more bad things and further your existence in the middle world, right? Yeah. So
Prabhuji, When you say material desires, like
Hmm.
what are some more examples? Like if somebody, you mentioned about things like owning a car or having a house,
Hmm.
does like getting a job or working at somewhere or reading some books or um,
Reading
having a
is not
family.
bad. We can read good books. Desiring a home is not bad. Everybody needs a home. The thing is,
Yeah.
beyond what is needed, there are needs and there are wants. Like I want to,
Oh, right.
yeah, I want to become the best in this, or which are not easy to acquire for him, right? For still he want to acquire, which requires a lot of over
Mm.
endeavor. And sometimes somebody want to become a MLA, for example, right? And he may have to supply liquor to people to, you know, that's like, very sinful. And to make money, some people
You
have,
said maybe,
uh, they have to sell, they have to, give liquor as,
but people can earn money by doing good things too, right?
exactly. Yeah, that is perfectly all right. We all need to
Mm.
earn money to live in this world, and you can always do that in a honest way. And that is perfectly
Mm-hmm.
no problem. But material desires are things, which are not for your basic needs, but
Mm.
things that are to puff you up. For example, somebody want to, want a special car from a, you know, he want to import certain specific car from a different country so that he can show off to others, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a unwanted material desire. Just to show off,
Mm.
people do a lot of things, right? They'll spend a
Mm.
lot of money on various things, destination marriage, so many
Mm.
things. Those are all material desires, which are, beyond your, just to show off. Some people buy a home which is
Mm.
beyond their capacity, for example.
Mm. Mm.
Wanted things. It's all, you have to see what is your comfort level, and to maintain your body, you need to fulfill your basic needs. And that is not a problem. Only when it comes to, pride, greed, anger, envy,
Mm.
yeah, those are the real problems. Those are the unwanted desires. Yeah. Any other questions?
And Prabhuji, by the way, all of these different things that you mentioned, anger, pride, but sometimes some of these things might just happen because of the situation, right? If somebody is unfairly treated, they may get angry, right?
Mm,
So it's
very good.
hard to
Yeah.
just.
Anger is not always necessarily bad. You're very right. In fact, for example, Hanuman became angry and
Mm.
burned the whole Lanka. Was
Mm.
it wrong? It's not wrong. It is
Mm.
perfectly all right because
Mm.
it is in the service of the Lord. So, what's the purpose behind? We have to see what is the purpose behind it. If you're
Oh.
angry because your desire is not fulfilled, your material desire is not fulfilled. For
Mm.
example, you wanted you know, certain thing from your child. For example, you wanted your
Mm.
child to become certain thing and he doesn't become. You become upset with that. So
Mm.
that is misplaced anger,
Mm. Mm.
right? Similarly, like, everything has a positive side and a negative side.
Mm. And so
You
even
can be,
pride is
for
something.
example, you can be greedy for chanting more and
Mm.
desiring to be more and more God conscious. That's
Mm.
perfectly all right.
Mm. Mm.
So
Uh,
it should not be misplaced.
mm.
Yeah, go ahead.
And when you say material desires, does people who, like, everyone has different goals in their lives,
Hmm.
but as far as like um, or family is concerned, or some people struggle with having kids or something like that, are those desires also considered material? Or because I mean, it's still like your human life and human desires, right? Not, it's not spiritual, right?
It's not spiritual, not necessarily wrong to have child. That is, that is a duty as a grihastha to have, give the child to.
Right. Okay.
However, for example, if the karma is not there, meaning naturally they're not getting it, but somehow through artificial means they're trying to do that. That is, a deviation that we should avoid. Whatever, happens naturally, that's perfectly all right to desire a child. Even Dashrath Maharaj desired children, and Ram was born to him.
Mm,
So perfectly all right. So
mm,
that
mm,
is, as a king, that was his duty. In fact,
mm,
to have children is, it's perfectly all right. Yeah.
mm.
Um,
And so
I
these are
want
also, just a moment, these are also desires that can move from one life to another if those are unfulfilled.
Yes. It
Okay.
will move from, one life to the other. Yeah.
And while this is not the exact topic, but actually successfully, artificially too, there are so many people who are born and are thriving in the world.
Mhm.
Why do we say that it is wrong?
No, it is not wrong. Uh, I mean, it's not natural, I'm saying.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not, it's not natural. One doesn't not, if there is a, emergency need, yeah, maybe there is, we can use those. But as far as possible, try to live natural life. That's what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, someone else is asking. Nirupama, you want to ask something? Mataji? Yeah, any other questions? Monica Sharma Mataji, Divya Mataji.
yeah, I wanted to clarify one thing.
Hmm.
So each individual is having soul, right?
Hmm.
So serving people, or working for those people are in the house.
Mhm.
That is also in a way, I think it is it in a material world or it is in spiritual world, because each individual has a soul, right?
Hmm.
So
Individual is it. Yeah. So the can you what was the question, Mataji, again?
yeah,
Serve
so
others.
yeah.
Hmm.
We are staying in a family because somebody asked about children and all.
Hmm.
So each individual also is having soul in their body.
Correct.
So taking time or doing something for those who are residing with us, is
Hmm.
it in material
Hmm.
uh,
Very good.
way or spiritual way?
Very
Because
good. Very good.
yeah, because we always have the feeling, we make for others and we are not getting time.
Hmm.
That concept always comes in mind.
Yeah. So as per Manu Samhita, we all are expected to perform our duties towards our family. So we all, these are called, what do you call, dharma. We all have dharma towards our family. So whatever, so if you, so when we have a family, for example, you have a parent, you have parents, you have brothers, you have husband, you have children. So these are all actually arrangement of Lord for your own life in this world. Without them, you cannot be truly happy. We all need a relation to be happy in this world. We are, we all lead a happy life because we have good relation with our family members, right? That's the core, you know. So when you see them as the children of God, before you see them as your own son or daughter, you see them as first they are children of God, and then they're actually my children also. God has given in put them in my hand so that I take care of them nicely and make them, closer to Him, closer to God by feeding them prasadam or giving them opportunity to learn spiritual science. So if we are performing those duties, that is perfect because and that's what you know um, that's what proper duties of human life. I mean, what else do? We just keep chanting all the time? No, we have to perform our duties towards our family, our children. We have to educate them nicely so that they can lead their own life and they should have their own time for spiritual life. So we take care of everybody and we see them as arrangement of Lord for our service. So it's perfectly all right to serve them nicely, as long as you continue to, engage them spiritually. Sometimes, parents will be so much focused on just material education, things like that. That much we should not do. We should focus on both spiritual as well as material needs for them. Like
When
that.
you say material education, do you mean the schooling and education, the normal education that
Yeah,
we?
like we know, right? Like a lot of parents, especially from India, right? Like they expect their children to excel in education, and there is nothing else they focus on. They
Mm.
never focus on the spirit soul of, or the atma of the person.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the most important thing. Because ultimately, who are we? We come together and we are like bubbles in a ocean. Sometimes we come together and again disperse. We again disperse. And next time you meet another set of bubbles. So just this family life is also, of course, at a higher level. If you should understand that it's a very temporary arrangement for one lifetime. What is it in your journey of eternal life, right? It's like a flash, but still you should be acting in a very dutiful way while living in this world, focusing on the spiritual growth of yourself as well as your family members. These are very, very practical questions you're asking. Thank you. Any other questions? Monica, Divya, do you have any topics?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.
जैसे अभी आपने बताया, मेरे मैं अभी तक समझते थे कि मुक्ति का मतलब है इस शरीर का की दोबारा प्राप्ति का न होना।
Mhm.
लेकिन अभी जो आज की क्लास से मुझे पता चला है कि मुक्ति का मतलब सिर्फ ये बॉडी दोबारा प्राप्त न होना, मतलब पुनर्जन्म न होना ही नहीं है, बल्कि इच्छाओं का अंत कर देना मन से, जो हमने अनंत जन्मों से कर रखी है।
Mhm.
तो प्रभु जी, जैसा कि आपने बताया है कि हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जप करने से उन इच्छाओं का अंत हो जाता है, तो क्या हमने जो अनंत जन्मों से इच्छाएं कर रखी है उन सब का अंत हो जाता है सिर्फ इस जन्म में हम महामंत्र का जप करने से?
Oh, very good question. Yeah. Yeah. Holy name is so powerful with every chanting, it is exhausting lifetimes of uh, karmic background, karmic desires. So it's extremely powerful. It's a very, very powerful inoculation. We may not see because it's not anything gross that you can immediately feel. But as you chant, it is cleansing at a very rapid pace. So that's why every day, just like we take care of our body by eating and by taking bath, by brushing our mouth, every day we take care like that. So similarly, we have to take care of mind by chanting the holy name. And there is no better way. And it can cleanse ananta janmon ka pap. That is what the revealed scriptures say. Hmm? There are many quotes, even by Yamaraj says in Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, right? So there is nothing we can do about a person who chants the holy name, because they just exhaust all their karma in no time. So yeah, holy name is all powerful. There is and no other process comes anywhere close to what the power of holy name has.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so we'll continue with the discussion. Yeah. So one question one may ask is, so now that you understand this idea that you are not this physical body, you are a spirit soul, given this understanding, how can you lead a very peaceful life in this existence without being too much bogged down by the sufferings of this world, right? How can you happily laugh at every situation in this world, right? That's what we all want to. We don't want to be miserable. People in this world are depressed because of unfulfilled desires or unexpected circumstances in their life. Life can throw anything at our life, at us. Based on our past karma, we may go through any situation. So how can we stand strong, right? Based on the understanding we had so far, right? So first of all, understand this physical body has nothing to do with us. No, it's not a big deal. The reason is, so there was a king. There was a great king. And one day, while he was asleep, he had a dream. So in that dream, he became a butterfly. And he was flapping his wings, going to different flowers, drinking nectar. He was literally in that spirit of being a butterfly. Next morning, he woke up and he felt, I want to be that butterfly. So he, when minister comes, he asks him, hey, minister, last night I had a great dream. In that dream, I was a beautiful yellow butterfly. I was going in the garden, in our own garden, and happily drinking the nectar. I was literally feeling that I am the butterfly drinking the nectar. Now, I am so convinced that I am the butterfly. How am I to believe that I am not that butterfly and I am the king? So when in the dream, so in the night time when the king was in the dream, the grass body is inactive, but what is still active? The subtle body. The soul has a subtle body. The subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and ego. So in that vehicle of mind, the king went to this particular garden and he was immersed himself as a butterfly. He identified himself as a butterfly. And that was the full reality. In the dream, do we think that whatever we are, when we are in the actual dream, do we ever think that whatever is happening is not true? Do we ever consider like that? For example, sometimes suppose I had a dream where there is a big dog barking at me, coming at a very high pace. I was just, from my bed, I just rolled over, literally. Why, the physical body got affected? Because when you are in the dream, you really live that phase. So your subtle body can make you feel as if you have a different physical body completely, and you are in that. Just like when I was rolling, I didn't think that I was sweating also. Like the whole body was totally sweating. So it means that I really was identifying myself being chased by a dog. So that's the reality of my life. I was really feeling that I am being chased by a dog. But is that reality in the physical body? No. It's not a reality in the physical body. It is a reality in the subtle body only. But in the daytime, for the king in the night time, his reality is of the dream where he was a butterfly. In the daytime, for the same king, the reality was he was a king. So both are actually like a dream, because the body of king was avoided because of his past karma, but it is a temporary reality for a longer duration, maybe 100 years. But ultimately, it's a temporary reality at a gross level. And the dream of being a butterfly was a temporary reality, but for a duration of 8 hours. The other is for the duration of 80 hours or 80 years. So literally, both are realities at different levels. But what is common between the two? The identifier of the body. I identified myself as a butterfly in the dream. The soul is the common element of the both. The soul identified with the butterfly in the dream body. The soul identified with the king's body in the daytime, right? So the reality is the soul, and both the subtle body and gross body are temporary realities. So we can understand the soul is the only reality in all of this. Both the subtle body and the gross body are just temporary arrangements that have provided a certain identity temporarily, right? So we can understand, suppose you can see yourself in a concave mirror or a convex mirror, you would look very fat or thin. Is that your true self? No. So similarly, our soul is the true self, our gross body. You may have a lot of money or no money. You may be Jeff Bezos or you may be pauper in the street. Those are all just temporary things. They are not permanent. Of course, it is such a high reality for us, but it's just another reality of it. And he won't be there. Nobody knows about him after 100 years. Frankly, that's the truth. But we identify it so much that we really think that we are that. And so we go through, all the suffering in this material existence is because of our temporary identity with the material body. That is a key lesson. And when Srila Prabhupada was teaching, on a particular day about this particular concept, Srila Prabhupada is the founder of, ISKCON movement. So in that audience, there was one, woman who is, stout, fat. So she really felt relieved because she understood that this physical body is a temporary reality. And I'm not that, right? And my true self is soul, and I am much far, superior in terms of the nature. And this temporary body is a temporary thing, and it's just a temporary reality. So she felt relieved that she is not this physical body, because we suffer so much in this world because we identify, with various things of this world. Suppose you bought a new bench car, you really like bench car, for example, right? And suddenly you parked your car somewhere, somebody just threw some stone at your car and the glass broke down. How would you feel? Shattered in the heart. Even though the glass is broken, but you feel shattered in the heart. You go nearby and you realize it's not yours, it's somebody else's car. Then, oh my goodness, it's such a relief. Why? All this feeling? Because you identify that particular car, associate your car as your own extension, your own body, right? But when that identity is gone, so understand, when you are fully fixed in your true identity as the soul and live at that level fully, you're fully conscious and aware and start living at that consciousness, then all this external reality does not bother you so much, because all this is temporary. Yeah, you go through it. There will be pain in this world. You go through it and you grow through it, but you don't go through depression because, you identify with it, right? So that's the main benefit of understanding this, because when you buy a television, you get a thermocol on that. Which is more important, the thermocol or the television? Television. So, children may be excited about the thermocol, not the television. But our body is like a thermocol on the soul. The soul is the true self. And we forget about the soul in this middle world and focus so much on the gross body. That's why people go through so much suffering, so much competition, so much envy, so much negativity in this world, so much fighting. All the fighting in this world, if you look at the core, it's all based on bodily needs, bodily wants. It's all right? So, yeah. So this body is a drama body. Yeah, drama means you just play, right? A role for a time. time being. It's not your permanent thing. Yeah. So what happens at the time of death? The gross body is burnt. The jiva's subtle body, which suppose you have 100 desires in your subtle body right now, and you fulfill say 50 of them, you still have 50. So your subtle body along with the soul will be carried to the next body, and you continue to, acquire more desires or continue to fulfill your existing desires, right? In this way, your life continues. So the main thing is we should try to get rid of all the material desires while we are living in this world. Hmm? Hmm. So as long as we have unfulfilled desires in the mind, we take physical body after physical body. Yeah. So why we need physical body? Physical body is the vehicle to fulfill desires. For example, you have a desire to enjoy a, Audi car. You get that by, physically buying it and, sitting in it with a physical body. So you have the physical body to fulfill your desires. You want to eat certain thing. How can you do that? Through your physical body. So physical body is a vehicle, gross mission to fulfill your material desires in this world. Yeah. Yeah. When gross body is lost, it's called death. When subtle body is lost, it is called liberation or mukti. Right? So that's the simple principle. You can, right? Yeah. So what is the problem with continuing to exist in this material world, life after life, to fulfill various desires? You basically lose all that you have in your life. For example, you are Jeff Bezos. You passed away. Can you come back and claim all your last life earnings? All your stocks? Huh? You cannot. You are back to zero. You start with scratch. And you again start with Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? So we start like that. So that's the problem, with continuous material existence. And there is so much material suffering in this world. We all go through, we discussed all these, right? Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, and Adi Daivika clashes in this. Material existence is full of pain. Adi Bhautika means, the physical things around us that give us pain. Adi Daivika, the natural calamities that give us pain. Adhyatmika, the mind that gives you so much pain. So in this way, we go through so much suffering while living in this world. So our human body is a very unique facility that can help us to get liberated in this from this material existence. So while we have this human body, it's the best opportunity. There is no other opportunity in no other form of life. Maybe, there is Gajendra Moksha. There are very few rare exceptions, but exceptions are not the rule. So when we have human body, there is no better thing than to achieve the highest perfection of life. Right? So we should use our human body for this purpose. Yeah. So I think we'll stop here. We discussed for an hour now. Any other questions? I think today was very interactive. I like the questions. Yeah, Mudra, go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, what happens when somebody dies because of illness
What
or
exactly?
even mental health? Yeah, people who either commit suicide or maybe are going through really tough mental illness, right? Like depression or something. Then how do, like, if they were to die in that situation, what will happen?
Very good question. So if suppose somebody passes away immaturely or untimely, death like suicide, right? So what happens was the subtle body continues to exist because to award the next body, you need to fulfill the time period awarded at the time of birth. So for every body, there is a predetermined time to which that physical body has to continue to exist in the material world. Suppose I have a lifetime of 80 years. I have to complete that as part of my current living term. If I don't do, if for whatever reasons, if somebody commits suicide, his lifespan will, so he will not be awarded the next physical body until the period that was allotted to him. So he will continue to exist in this subtle body, in this middle world. Those are called pratas. Pratas are the ghost spirits. Yeah. So they actually try to fulfill their desires by like overpowering other living entities. Yeah, they actually do that. So the people who actually unfortunately untimely end their life, they become these ghosts that would continue to exist for their lifetime, and in the meantime they would actually try to fulfill their physical, because until you have physical body you cannot fulfill your desires. Suppose you wanted to eat something, but because you don't have a physical body you cannot fulfill the desires. So what you do, you actually try to what is that word called, like you superimpose another person, there is a word for that.
Possess.
Possess, yeah, that's, thank you. So you possess another person and try to fulfill your desires through, because your mind is going to act as the enjoyer in that body, and you would fulfill the desires, right? So otherwise, what happens was, if suppose you naturally die, right? So karmana daiva netrena means based on one's karma, under the direct supervision of the Supreme Lord, one is awarded the next body based on the desires of the current body. Especially at the moment of death determines the snapshot. For example, you are about to die and there is a particular desire that is so prominent in your mind. Suppose you haven't eaten certain thing and you are thinking about that at the time, then you will be given a body where you can fulfill the desire, right? So there
So
are,
it's not all the, sorry Prabhuji to interrupt. When you are saying that, is it all the desires that get transferred to the new body, or is it just the prominent ones?
everything, because there is no transfer. I mean, the subtle body, there is the soul,
Oh yeah.
and there is a subtle body. Subtle body continue to have the same desires that it has in the past life.
Mm-hmm.
And not now, based on his karma, he will be awarded the next body, right? I will tell you one story about this, about the reincarnation, right? So one time, Dhritarashtra Maharaj, you all know Dhritarashtra Maharaj. He is the father of 100 Kauravas, right? So Dhritarashtra Maharaj, after having all his children killed as part of the Kurukshetra war, he goes to Lord Krishna and asks one question. Oh Lord, now he is fully convinced Krishna is the Lord. So he asks, why I have to, with my own eyes, see the suffering of the death of all my children in my current lifetime? I have the good fortune of having 100 children. Not anybody can have 100 children. But all my children died. So why I have to go through this? So Lord Krishna explains him, O Dhritarashtra, many lifetimes ago, you were a hunter. And as a hunter, one time you you were hunting birds, and so when you were hunting, the bird flew away. The bird you were trying to hunt flew away. So in a raise of fitness, in a raise of anger, what you did was, the birds have about 100, the saplings, the baby birds, they were all in the nest. In a fit of rage, anger, You just burned the whole nest, and all the birds have died. And the mother and father of the birds have to witness this in great agony. They couldn't do anything because they were already burning. So that was a great sinful activity you performed many lifetimes ago. Then Dhritarashtra asked, then why I didn't get life immediately to go through that pain? Then Krishna said, because you have burnt so many, you have to go through the reaction of going through the same kind of pain. But to go through that pain, you need to do certain punya to acquire 100 sons. So you had to live through many lifetimes after that life, so that you perform so much karma, good karma, so that you have 100 children in this lifetime. So karma works like that. You both good karma as well as bad karma will fructify and will have its fruits and will come with you in the next life. So in a way, you can see that performing good activities or bad activities both will result in future karma. So you will have good reactions as well as bad reactions as part of this. So when you chant holy name, both the good as well as bad karma will be burnt.
Good will also be burnt.
Yes, good. For example, you did some, it doesn't mean that, you will suffer because of good, burning of good karma. It is to help you liberate only, especially, yeah, that is wanted, ultimately. You don't want to just become a prime minister of India, right? It's good, but again, you have to go through, yeah, good is not, it's named good, but, again, yeah, again, it's binding you, because once you come here, you don't know what you perform and what additional desires you will add. So ultimately, it is better to get fully liberated. Yeah.
And Prabhuji, what happens if somebody dies just because of illness? That is just their limited time frame, right? Their time in that body
Somebody dies what?
due to illness.
Due to illness, of course, that is natural death. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing. Yeah, it's basically he has certain sanction of period in that lifetime, in that body for that lifetime, and he just fulfilled that, and he is moving on to the next body, and that is unstoppable.
Mhm.
Death, birth, old age, disease are going to be there for every living entity in this world, in the material world. Only in the spiritual world, these four things will not exist.
Prabhuji, two more things. So you mentioned about desires. If your desires are not strong, even then your subtle mind will carry them to the next birth.
Your desires are what? Not strong? Huh?
Not strong. Not strong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any desire is desire. So, so it will continue.
So you will go through the cycle of it, just, and then in the next birth, whatever you do, maybe it amplifies, or you lose that, but you gain more different desires.
Exactly. I'll tell you one fascinating story.
Mm.
There was in the scriptures, there was the story of great king called Dhruva. His father name was Uttanapad. So when, as a child, he was insulted by his stepmother, and because his stepmother says, you cannot sit in the lap of your father because you are not born of my womb. His heart was shattered, but he has a kingly spirit. So he goes to the forest to perform austerities to gain what? A kingdom bigger than his father. It's a pure material desire. So he desires that, and he performs, you know, pure chanting and, pure spiritual sadhana. And when he performs, he attains such powers. Even Lord comes to, see him. And when Lord Hari actually appears before him, immediately after seeing him, he feels, what the hell? What kind of material desires did I desire to begin all this whole thing? So he says, "Oh Lord, I was looking for broken glass while I got this great diamond in the form of, you know, vision of yourself. So now that I have seen you, I don't want any of those material desires. I have lost all my material desires. I want to be back with you. I don't want to continue in this material existence. I don't want to get a kingdom bigger than my grandfather Brahma." That's what his original desire was. He says, "I don't want, but Lord says, you already desired, so I have to give you." So he is given this special Dhruva planet, which is a spiritual planet actually within the material world. So he was given an entire planet created by Lord for him because he was a great devotee. Lord stayed with him as his gatekeeper for 36,000 years, and after which he will leave this middle world. In the spiritual, in the middle world, there is a small spiritual world called Dhruvaloka. Along with the Dhruvaloka, he will leave to the spiritual world after that. He's still continuing right now. So yeah, whatever little desire you have, you still continue to exist in the middle world.
And Prabhuji, if you know that there are situations where you did something wrong, at least now that you feel that you did wrong, because like let's say some people are non-vegetarian, they become vegetarian, or other minor things when you were trying to defend yourself from some fear of an animal,
Mm.
and you ended up killing the animal, but you now know that okay, killing the animal wasn't good.
Mm.
And that karma is already done, like you have already gained that bad karma. How so the own how is it
What
just
happens?
charity?
What happens now? Very good question. Thank you. So, so we, as part of the spiritual practices, all this karma gets burnt away. Okay,
Mm, mm,
but at the same time, when this karma gets burnt away, there will be a token reaction that will be given sometimes. For example, uh, you are a practicing spiritual life.
mm,
By your karma, you need to get into an accident and break your leg, for example. That was your original suffering that you are supposed to go through. But you will
mm,
be given a token reaction where you cut your finger and you bleed and go through some minor stitches. You get some
mm,
reaction as a token reaction, but the suffering is minimized. So that's how most
mm,
people who practice spiritual life get their, exhaust their bad karma of the past life. When you are going through some suffering, understand that you are actually burning away some bad, big, past karma. Some of them are
mm,
some of them are burnt in your dreams itself. You have a material desire, you may burn it away in your dream. Sometimes you burn it through some token reaction. So in this way, because when you practice this, Lord is with you. Lord is directly guiding you and helping you to, to basically to get over the challenges of material life, right? So you may go through the pains, but you would minimize the reactions.
mm.
Okay?
And Prabhuji, if we witness, I can stop. I mean, this is something can go next session too. Um,
Yeah,
this is
you can end after that. Or if
yeah,
anybody else has questions, I haven't asked others.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, huh? You have? So here in the audience here, Kushwant has a question. Yeah, go ahead, Kushwant. Just give me mudra sometime.
Yeah.
Mm.
For example, if there is no desire, we don't have any goal.
Mm-hmm.
So how your goal should be there?
Oh yeah, very good question. Yeah.
Because let's say, for example, my goal right now is I need to get a job.
Mhm.
It's a desire.
Mm.
If I don't do that, I have to go through all the consequences.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know Krishna will see, but I need to go through all the consequences. Might be that is good karma, bad karma, going to all my in my career. Then, so how can I deal with that right now? Then?
Yeah. So first of all, so that is your duty to acquire a job, to get a job in this world, to lead your life is your duty. So that's not called material desire. So we all have to perform our duties in this world, to take care of your parents, to take care of your children, because you have to feed them, your parents, you have to feed. How do you do that? So you have to have a job in your hand. So that's perfectly all right. So, and to achieve anything, you need to have clear goals, and you need to work hard. So those are all perfectly all right. So not that everything we desire is wrong, right? So to perform our duties, as long as it is, proper duties, it's perfectly all right. Making sense? Any other clarification?
And also how you are anything, for example, let's say you are working like a, let's say for example, someone is working as an intern, then he wanted to promote it as a junior or then later as a senior developer or something. Is it a desire for him?
No, that's perfectly all right. Arjuna became world's best archer, and what he would do, he would work all night sometimes. So it doesn't mean that. So one thing you should know is, as long as your desires are not overpowering your consciousness in a way that your material life becomes so prominent that you can't even practice your spiritual life, or if you are overoccupied with material life, then that's a problem. So as long as you balance your spiritual life, you're still doing it as a service to, Lord, anything is perfectly all right. So for Arjuna, it is to win the, war. That was his motivation, and that is direct service to Krishna. It's a dharma yuddha. So he is preparing for it. So it's perfectly all right. And for us, if you have a specific, that would help. Suppose it helps you spread the message of Gita, getting into a better position. Do it. That's your service. So what matters is, what is the motivation behind it? Am I wanting that particular position? Say I want to become a director. Am I wanting that so that I can, make more money? Or am I wanting that so that I can better use that position in a spiritual way? As long as you can see with the right vision and act accordingly when you get there, right? Then it is a spiritual thing, right? So it's about how you see things. What's motivating us? That's the most important thing.
Nirupama ji has some questions in the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. Liberating soul prematurely is predestined. Predestined, or liberating soul prematurely? Liberating soul means dying, or I didn't understand. Oh, okay. Oh, it's a deeper question. So,
Yes,
so
Prabhuji. Somebody is ending the life on their own. I'm referring to that.
Okay, if somebody is trying to end their life prematurely,
Yes.
okay, and is it predestined? No, it's not predestined. If somebody is trying to end their life in a premature way, that's not predestined. It is basically one's own, desires overpowering his discrimination to end their life. So that is not liberating soul. Actually, it's binding. Yeah, so it's unfortunate. And chanting Maha Mantra while walking is okay. Yeah, perfectly okay. I do that every day. But you should also chant in a very calm position by sitting at least a few rounds, so that you feel that connection, right? The whole idea is to be able to completely focus on the holy name when you chant. So if you can do that, that is the best. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Mudra, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So one is this: sometimes we get bad thoughts maybe we feel that like because of anger or unjust or injustice that we see, we feel angry towards people, and that could ha- I mean, we can have thoughts. We may not implement that, but the thoughts are also not good, right? They are also kind of desires, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we, so
Can you
redirecting thoughts is one.
sorry,
Sorry.
I missed can you repeat that last line once again?
Yes. So if we have witnessed injustice or
Now, if we
so
injustice,
I have to, yeah, if we have or we have faced injustice, or we feel angry towards someone, or the boss did something, or something else happens and we feel angry towards that, we can get um, bad thoughts.
Mhm.
We may not implement those bad thoughts, but the bad thoughts do come, right? So how do, like, I understand that chanting is one way to dissolve or kill those thoughts, but they might come back. How do we, what's the best way to just remove those things from our mind? Because I believe if you think that way, then you are actually desiring it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let me put it this way. See, if something is happening in our life through somebody, understand that that person is only an instrument, and whatever we go through is actually our own doing, our own past karma that we have to go through. Just that this person has become an instrument in that, in that particular role. So that is the higher vision, right? But of course, as a duty, if suppose something wrong is happening against you, injustice, we don't think about your past karma, our past karma. Instead, we think about what is my current dharma, not past karma, but current dharma. What should I do so that I. So if somebody is cutting your hand, yeah, of course it is your past karma. That's why you getting your hand cut. But how do I protect myself? You should do whatever is needful to protect yourself, right?
So, yeah, actually, Prabhuji, I'm thinking from the perspective of, so we see that all of these, great leaders, they sometimes, or even many times, they try to get in connection with um, the people who go to prison, and they have like committed crime, and many times the reason is because they were themselves, they went through some violence or bad situations, and they are
Hmm.
uh, I mean,
They are just basically
they are just
they,
taking revenge,
you know,
or maybe
yeah, they're just reacting, right, based on their. So
yeah, or giving an example, like the deaths that happen for some of the black people, and we had some violence in the downtown Seattle streets, and people did do some violence. How do we, like, the violent act cannot happen without thinking it, so they thought it and so they implemented it. How do we kill that thought in our mind?
how do we kill that thought? Yeah. So yeah, so that requires this higher level understanding. So when we
Mm,
understand whatever comes our way is is our own past, dues that we are receiving through this personality.
mm,
Of course, we do the needful to protect ourselves, but
mm,
we still have a choice to not react. So
mm,
how we respond in the situation really determines. If suppose somebody responded by further violence, like you are mentioning, their
mm.
cause of future more violence by killing others, they actually incur more karma, which they have to go through in their future life or in the future term. So that's why they get arrested, because whatever they did, the way they reacted, of course, there was a lot of injustice that happened,
Yeah.
but that injustice appears to be injustice because we are seeing the time frame as current life. But I
Yeah.
think in the long eternality,
But
everybody goes through what they are due only, right?
So, Prabhuji, even if you don't do the bad karma, your thoughts are actually bad, which you are which you are struggling with removing from your mind, right? If you have those bad thoughts coming in your mind again and again, then I'm trying to understand, will they become desires that carry to another life? And if they do, what best can one do to, you know, burn it, kill it, not have those thoughts again and again in mind?
It requires, I mean, so it requires a lot of spiritual maturity to get to a place
Mm.
where we don't even have negative thoughts. All of us go through negative
Mm.
thoughts, especially when injustice is done to us in various ways in our
Mm.
life. We all have seen people lose money, and in so many ways we go through a lot of pain. But you know,
Mm.
it requires a lot of spiritual maturity to have proper vision, right? Proper
Mm. Mm.
proper action. Yeah, it's a
Mm.
journey. I mean, we can keep speaking, but
Mm.
it's experience. We'll get there as we continue to study and implement Gita in our life and chant.
Mm.
One is like in having the thought, what is
And if you, Prabhuji, one add just a follow up on that. If you witness violence,
Uh, Mudra, because we have to leave in like 15-20 minutes here.
okay, yeah, I can ask some other time. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You actually you have such good questions, all of you actually. If you can write down
the chat?
in the chat also, we can discuss.
WhatsApp.
Okay.
You can write or speak. Anything is fine, and I can mostly respond, by answering in words. Hmm?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
nice to meet you all. And as I said, on 26th, there is going to be a very nice program by His Grace Radhesham Prabhu. Please bring all your friends. We want to have at least 40-50 people. So that's one request from my side. So please consider that. Okay. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We'll end the call here. Hare Krishna.